said we were going to get it back in the water. Justin made the other panel we've been missing for a while, so all the panels are on here now. Got the engine cover case off. We're putting in another one of these, and why is we feel there's too much pressure on the system, so we added a T there. Somewhere, right in there.
Right there.
And that T is going to come out here, and that's relieving pressure before the intercooler and before the oil intercooler, which should relieve a lot of that pressure. If it's relieving too much, then we'll know that due to our air inlet temperatures, and we can restrict it down to move a little more flow. But for now, we're just going to go 1-to-1, 50-50. 50% going to the intercoolers and 50% going overboard, and try to cut down the pressure, because it seems like an extreme amount of pressure coming out of the side of the boat when we're running even at lower RPMs in the 3,000 to 4,000 RPM range. So imagine what that's going to do at 7,000 to 8,000 RPM if we get there. So anyway, that's our next thing, and then we've got this all apart. We're going to put the seats in it, done some adjustments on the controls, and yeah, you know, he's just still been working on some body work. Got the mirror in this time. Big mistake not having the mirror last time. We're gonna go put it in the water and do another test. We've done, as you saw by the last video, we did a lot of tuning on it here in the shop, and now it's ready to go back in the water. We'll close the shop, head to the water. Got all of our safety gear, new tune. I'm excited to see how this thing runs.
She does.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Is we gonna be able to get it off? Look at that. She's home. She's on the dock.
Oh, that feels good for you, Jeff. First time on your dock.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan?
Pretty sweet.
I like your CF numbers.
CF numbers? Yeah. You like those? Hey.
She got a little wet.
Oh, I got a lot wet.
That was all we could afford. Got some gooses. Lots of gooses. Yeah, it doesn't look that big on the dock. I thought it was gonna look a little bigger. Okay, we're not broke down. We're just we're leaving the Mojo boat on the dock back there, and I'm gonna switch trailers. Come back Sunday, put it on the painter trailer so we can start tearing it apart. So Dan's giving us a ride back to the dock. Welcome back to the shop. As you saw by the last video, we had the boat in the water, and test went really well. All in all, it was a 95% success. A little more tune. We've since put it in the water one more time. We did some tuning changes, as you saw. We did put it back in the water. It is much better, and it's just those baby steps, little by little by little. We're slowly increasing. I can tell you, this thing is an animal. It's when it comes on, and I can't imagine what it's going to be like. I do not believe we need nitrous in this boat at all. We might put it in just for the whole shot part of it, but when those turbos come on and it gets boost, it's a handful, and we don't even have it turned up yet. So we've got the seats out, we've got the center console pulled apart. I'm not happy with the way this thing is shifting. What's happening is that when you have it down in the detent for drive, it's putting the bucket all the way up like this. However, it's not locking the bucket up like this. So when the boat goes to take off, this sinks into the water down into here. The water grabs this scoop right here and sucks this thing down. When it does that, it throws it into reverse and a wave of water comes over the back of the boat. It's scary. The nose dives, water's coming all the way up into the cockpit. Not good for the motor, obviously, and that's at a very low speed. So what I'm worried about is that could happen somehow. I'm not sure how, but it would be very, very bad if that thing popped out of drive while we're under speed. It would be really, really bad. So I'm going to pull this thing apart. Either I've got something wrong, or I think, I don't know, there's just something not right here. It is controllable, it does work. I could make it work, but I want to find out if there's a better way. So that's what we're working on now. Paul's working on the spider web, as he calls it, for back in here to put all the panels on. He's going to finish up our roof. We're 3 working days away from going to paint, and we're in the next 3 days. This boat's not going back in the water. I'm comfortable with the way it's running and the performance of it. We've just got a couple things to tweak here, but body work needs to get done in the next 3 days. Going to paint, comes out of paint and goes straight to upholstery. So that's what's up next. All right, we have pulled this thing all apart. I figured out what we need to do to fix this, and unfortunately we have to cut this panel a little bit and allow the arm to travel up through there instead of down through there. So it's just going to be backwards. However, it's going to be the right way, where forward is forward and backwards is backwards, but it goes past a detent that locks in and won't allow that bucket to drop. So we're going to pull all this apart and tear into it. We got to add a piece here anyway. It's not final, you know, this is all for testing and figuring it out. So we figured it out and we fixed the problem. Moving on to the next thing. So this is this Paul calls it the spider web. This is the bracket that will go in around the engine, get all the covers put on it. So the tabs on it. There's a few more to put in the boat, but I'm going to install it. Okay, we are templating the turbo boxes. We've got the spider web in here, all installed, temporarily installed, but basically now it's going to get all these panels. Each one of these will be a separate panel, so we can service each area. And then when it goes torch graph, we'll get them to put the fuel stations out here on these tanks, and then and finish all this outside stuff. But basically this will be a panel with a removable panel for checking water and fluids here. Removable panel here so we can check the oil. And then our turbo box is going to sit in here. So it'll be a box with a screen right here, a little screen right here, and a little screen right here, feeding this with a water drain in the bottom of this in case any water gets through these screens. So the turbos will have their own compartments to not ingest water from doing 360s or splashing or anything like that. We got the beginning of our turbo case here. Looking good. Got a lot of the paneling done. Justin's cutting the center console right now, that's why it's loud. Finishing the air intake box for the other side. There will be a big screen right here following this shape and letting all the air into the air intake box from right through here. I didn't get to video a lot today, but because I've been out working, but basically we've done a lot. So we've obviously tore the whole cockpit all apart, as I call it. All the gauges are out. We've stripped the center console out. Paul has the turbo cases almost done. The second one's almost done. We got to do some screens, some more work back here, probably another day's worth of work back in here. And then we had a problem with our shifter, that it wasn't moving the right direction, wasn't locking in. So we've determined that we had to flip it 180 degrees, and by doing that the arm has to travel up here instead of down here. We basically had to build this tunnel to support the arm moving and dig all this out. It was a lot of work, but the end result is this is going to allow the shifter, if you will, to lock into place up here. And now forward is forward and reverse is reverse. We had it backwards, trying to get away with something without having to modify this whole unit, and it ends up that the right way is the right way, and that's the right way. So there it is. I know it looks like controlled chaos, but pretty much all the panels are roughed out and have all the Zeus fasteners in place. And on our spider cage, Paul's building the last of the turbo inlet cages right now, which look really cool right there and there. And these will have these panels right here that go on here, and this will be cut out in a screen shape to accent this. And now we're talking about putting some lights in here, make that glow at night. It'll look kind of cool. So it's always changing. That's kind of the cool thing, is that there's no rules here. We're just doing what we want to do. So now that panel's on, now we'll cut a hole in this right here, and it'll be inset maybe an inch or so, have the screen behind it, and that'll be our inlet for our turbo. So we have got a lot done here. Both of the turbo cases are done, or inlet tanks, inlet compartments, whatever you want to call them. Paul's got the bat wing over there on the table, almost ready to install. He's been fabbing it for several hours. And here's the kind of cool thing. You think a lot of work, you want a reality check on how much work went into this. Here's one pile of scrap metal of all the pieces we didn't use. Here's another pile of all the pieces that have been cut out and shaped and made and abandoned and started over. Here's another pile over here of all the pieces that have been cut and shaped and so on. And we have cleaned this shop up once thoroughly along this way. Another pile of scrap pieces left over from all of the manufacturing process. So the amount of fab in this boat is mind-boggling. And necessary? I don't know. Maybe not, but sure is cool looking. Oh, and here's our remnants. We've got a little bit of 1x1 left. Actually, that's for the Mojo boat. And we've got a bucket of kind of miscellaneous tubing pieces and just specific types, you know, solid stock, round stuff, stuff that we might still need little pieces off of. But all in all, it's been, we're down to the end. Good to see we're down to the end. Here's another panel. This will get a screen cut into it, and this is our main inlet for our turbos. And we've got clearance around them because they will grow, believe it or not. That pipe will grow with heat, and that's why we have those standoffs right there to allow, and they go down to the floor so that this turbo can actually grow and move forward and move inward. And we'll probably put some type of a door seal around the inside of this too. And we're not really trying to seal it, we're just trying to make it try to grab fresh air as much as possible and not suck air from the engine compartment. So you'll see when it's done how that all works out. Also, a couple of things I want to point out. So this will get all blended into the body. These are our studs to hold the light bar bracket. We're going to make a semi-temporary light bar bracket out of aluminum stock that's going to hold the light bar on here. But these tubes go all the way into this A-pillar right there. You can see it over there. They're drilled into the A-pillar and they come all the way back into here. So they're that long, and they're anchored in the A-pillar. They're welded on the inside really well. They're welded on the outside, and the bodywork is welded to them as well. So they'll become an intricate part of the body. Another thing I want to point out before I get any comments about this, on this parachute bracket, we're pulling from these, it looks like there's 3 tabs here. This is actually a piece of channel iron. It travels all the way through this structure and attaches itself to the back of the boat. And then there's a bar across the back of the boat that's holding all of our canisters and such that is on the other side of that wall. So we're getting the strength of a T-bar there that comes all the way through, notched through this plate, and has the parachute lanyards attached to it. So you know, you might look at this and go, oh, there's just 3 little tabs welded on some thin aluminum. That's not true. There it is, channel going all the way through. And here's the item affectionately known as the bat wing going in now. Paul's got a little more trimming to do on it, but he's got it pretty close, looking sharp. And that will get a Pirahna logo put in it right there, and ultra deck on all these pieces. That'll look amazing. All right, there's the pieces in place, and then still gonna cut these out and have screen in here to let air come through from this engine compartment through this exhaust, and that'll all be those chrome stainless pieces. Maybe some vents in there, a little more trim there, but yeah, looks amazing. Starting to see the vision here. Okay, Paul, how many times do you think you've taken that one piece in and out of this boat?
10 times at the moment.
Oh, I think 20.
20.
I think you've done it 10 since I've been here.
Maybe another 10 times after that.
Another 10 times after that. So each piece, 30 trips in and out of the boat before it's actually right.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
this
trick.
doesn't just get whipped up.
The trick is just keep putting it in and out and it'll get done.
Okay, new day. We got a lot going on here. We're tearing it all down. Got temporary brackets to hold the light bar in. Light bar is looking pretty sexy. All this stuff's done, coming apart. You see the turbo exhaust is off. We got Jackson making his debut here in the sandblasting booth. Making his YouTube debut, Mr. Jackson. Paul's welding on the center console. That's all done now. But it did a couple more times. We got panels off here because we're building a brace from the turbo right side to left side, and we've got the other roof panel made, and he's just finishing up all this stuff. So a lot going on here in the next few days. We're gonna have it all done and painted in 3 days from now. If you're watching this video, it's probably already done. A lot happening really quick, and then off to upholstery, and that'll be there for 3 days. 4th of July in the Delta, testing it out a little bit, and then up to Oregon for fit and finish. Hey, we got number 2 fuel tank out. We got to put the riser for the filling of it, the bungs on here. Then we've got the pump. And this is basically, sorry about all the noise, got a lot going on. Noise is progress, remember that. This is the pump that's going to transfer fuel from one tank to the other on a timer. So every time I hit that timer, it'll move like 60 seconds of fuel over to the other tank, or I can control it however I want. We've got this thing all tore apart. We got the spider, as we call it, out. She's all tore apart. Man, I don't like seeing that. Paul's got the spider here. We've got to weld a couple tabs on that he couldn't weld while it was in there, and that baby is done. All the panels are done, center console's done. We still got Jackson sandblasting parts. Got parts sandblasted already. This is our new cross tube. I can't touch this stuff because it's ready for paint. This is our cross tube for the turbos to connect the 2 turbos together. Still got to prep that tank. And we're building the light bar. I've got some new brackets, temporary brackets. No, that's not them. They're getting drilled. We got new temporary brackets that are going to go up here, set the light bar. And if that works, then we're going to build the real one. So 3 versions of that get to the real ones. All right, we have our temporary light brackets in. I like the height, I like the location. Obviously need to make them look much nicer than that, but windshield wipers hide behind them. Looks good. Now we'll make the real ones. So now Paul's making a panel for up in there. We got to pull these turbo lines off and the turbo dumps, or the drain lines off, turbos off. We got most of the wastegates off.
This guy's done.
Fuel tanks out. Got this panel done. The other one's done. It's just not on. And after this last 2 panels,
8 pillars tonight.
8 pillars start going together. Should be cooking by tomorrow. Okay, we got it all outside. It's all stripped down. Still got to take some intake stuff off and a few other parts, but for the most part we washed it all out. It's all clean. Got a lot of stuff, a lot of parts out of it. All cleaned up. We've got it pretty well tore apart, and Paul's got the A-pillars panels welded in, looking sharp. Gonna do a bunch of molding in here and finish all this up here, and all that's done. Got a couple panels there. We're about to set up the paint booth, the portable paint booth right here, courtesy of West Coast Electric. Boys are hard at it. Got Jose here now. So we've got paint prep going on. We got Paul still working on aluminum work at Jackson. Paint prep in the fuel tank. Getting it ready for Cerakote, one of the 2 fuel tanks. We got Justin over here cutting out our vents for our turbo screens. 1 of 2. You got them both cut already?
Maybe.
Maybe. We're gonna put our turbo screens in there. This is a polished stainless screen, and we're going to attempt to try to cut these out and send them with Paunch to Vine Hill Craftworks and see if Ruth can actually laser etch the Pirahna over this surface. So when they're on there, they're gonna be backlit from the back, but it'll be etched into the shiny. Take out, you know, it'll dull it wherever the Pirahna is on that, a right one and a left one. That's our. We're gonna attempt to do that. So we got all that going on there, and we got all of our parts sandblasted. More parts over here sandblasted. Very noisy place right now. Noise is progress. If you're making noise, you're making progress. Got our booth all set up. A little hot in here. It's 100 degrees outside right now. Gonna wait for sunset before we start shooting Cerakote parts. There is so much going on in this shop right now. We are Thursday the 26th of June. And by Sunday, we need to have this thing all painted out of the booth. It's going to go into a professional booth and have it all painted and all the parts painted and ready for reassembly on Monday to go to the upholstery guy. Alright, the sun is setting here slowly. Still very noisy, means we're making progress. We're using on all these parts, the exhaust, the intake, a Cerakote C129 stainless. That's what all these parts are going in, and then we're going to use a cobalt on the fuel tanks, all the tanks that are in there. Paul's getting set up to shoot that. Okay. Yep, I'm not standing here. Too much for that idea. Cerakoting is done. The headers are right there. All the other parts. Again, this is a stainless color. It will probably change a little bit as it cures, but this is all the parts. Pretty quick and easy. That's the main exhaust, turbo mount. Looks good. And Jose has got this thing looking like butter. Beautiful. Like butter.
Working on the little radiuses right here. Getting that all dialed in, taking it away, making it look nice and smooth.
Beautiful.
It's gonna look pretty.
Doesn't want to go quietly.
These highs won't matter, right? With the
No.
The,
Yep.
That'll
It'll cover them right
okay,
up.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. Right on.
Looking good. Those damn lights would come on. You'd see better. So Joe tells me he got locked out last night.
Oh, Jose. Jose, did you get locked out last night?
Good morning.
He came to my window at 5 in the morning. Pablo.
Fucker.
He walked out of this door and it self-locks, and he didn't know the code to get back in. So he had to walk around the shop and knock on Paul's window. That had to scare the shit out of you.
I had the window open too last night because we couldn't set the alarm, so I'm like, fuck it, I might as well have some fresh air. Man, I slept good with the window open.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best.
Dude.
Alright, we got all of our Cerakote parts down, and they're in the barn dominium, soaking on the floor. So those are all the stainless colors. Now we've got the turbos. Got all the turbos, still got to get prepped, and they're going to get Cerakoted. Jose's making them all pretty. Alright, quick update. We got some more Bondo going on here. Front end's looking pretty sharp. One of the two fascias is on. I guess I'd call it a fascia. Front end's looking sharp. Literally sharp. The blends for our light bar starting to look pretty good. Jose's got them looking sharp. Justin's putting in the last
Header panel's going in.
header panel. And Paul is working on, I don't know, we don't have a name for this part. What do we call this part? The compartment.
The wire box.
The wire box. Yeah, goes up on the roof. Like it's part of the car, part of the body now. First roll wing going on. Whee!
Yeah, when you're over there, I'll come clean that.
Yeah,
Get the Bondo out of my fucking way.
Part of the process, Jose.
Yeah, that's
part of the
it.
process.
Gotta get
Got to
down.
pay the bills. And to test fit the first panel, it's all the body work's done on it.
Well, how you do it with no help.
Yeah. I'd love to help you, but I'm holding the camera. Look at that. Beautiful thing.
It sure is.
Oh, I got 2 hands.
2 hands and 9 fingers.
9.5. Spring-loaded ball in there. So when this thing closes, it just keeps a little bit of tension on that front so we don't get a vacuum and start floating the front of the roof panel. We have driven with the left one on at 65 miles an hour, and it doesn't lift too much, but it lifts a little bit, so this is going to fix that.
Thinking we do. I think what I'm going to do is weld in. It needs to be tighter than
Yeah,
a 1/4
right.
inch gap. It needs to be like.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what, half hour of work for you.
beautiful.
A lot going on.
A lot going on. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, right, Paul?
What's that?
If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
Right.
Everybody.
Everybody have a goal in Pirahna.
Okay, next episode, she'll be in the paint booth. Tanks will be Cerakoted tonight, and it's off to upholstery. Then we get back from upholstery, we'll do some somewhat of final assembly, and then it's off to Torchcraft, then wrap and ultra deck. Then she's done.